Okay, guys, how are you? It is Thanksgiving week. Yes. Um, we are almost halfway done with the school year with no sign of returning to school anytime soon. Uh, I'm really hoping these new vaccines that they've got look to be pretty promising. So I'm really hoping that maybe by February we can find our way back into an actual classroom with students and teachers and that kind of thing. We'll have to wait and see how it all shakes out with distribution and whatnot. Um, this week, we're talking about the end of Ocean at the End of the Lane. When we left off last time, the narrator was instructed to go stand inside of the fairy ring while Letty tried to take care of the hunger birds that were flapping around and just eating Ursula Mungden. I don't think that I have found um, a good picture for the Hunger Birds. Let's see if anybody's got. Oh no, wait, no, never mind. That seems like a pretty good example. Or this one, yeah. No, I think both of those are pretty good. So the Hunger Birds are these terrifying otherworldly things that have come, and they say that they're going to kill the narrator as a way to finish off Ursula Monkton because a part of her is in him. And we talked last time about the implications of that with trauma. And then we get this really interesting chapter that comes. Oh, and by the way, this is going to be a really short video. I'm not doing a PowerPoint. I'm not doing a chapter by chapter summary. I'm just doing a quick sum up here. We get this really interesting chapter where he's in the fairy ring and he gets visited by these apparitions, right? The Opal Miner, his father, his sister, Ursula Monkton, and it's the Hunger Birds tempting him to leave. And there's all kinds of illusions happening here, both mythologically, with his temptation here is very similar to the temptation of Christ in the Garden of Gethsemane right before his crucifixion. Similar thing is like happening here, but then there's all these psychological things that are happening as well, where you could really do an entire analysis if you wanted to here on the psychology of this one chapter and the kind of Freudian aspects of it here with the ego, superego, id. And kind of doing an analysis of the psychology of this chapter here and how and how he reverts to citing poems and singing as a way to kind of deal with this. And then Letty shows up with her bucket of the ocean water and has him stand inside of it, and then all of a sudden he's swimming in this ocean where he gets inside of all of existence. But Letty says that he can't stay in the ocean or else it will dissolve him. It will eat him. The ocean will consume him. He is not worthy to be in the ocean of that existence. And so when they come up for air, they find that they're on the Hemstocks farm. And then the Hemstocks are figuring out what to do here, and the boy says that he's ready to die to solve this. And the Hunger Birds show up and they say that they can't harm the farm and they can't harm the narrator while he's on the farm, but they can destroy creation. They eat a constellation out of the sky, and they seem very capable of just destroying all of like creation. So the narrator decides that he's going to sacrifice himself to save creation. It seems like an adequate thing, and so he runs towards the Hunger Birds, charges them, and then Letty knocks him out of the way and charges the Hunger Birds instead of him, ultimately giving up herself in sacrifice. And in many ways, this is what makes Letty into the Christ figure of the novel. There's a couple of other allusions like the Trinity, right? Part of the three. There's not a Father, Son, Holy Ghost here, but there are definitely three parts to this godlike thing, and then the sacrifice to save the narrator from his own sins, as it were. So Letty dies. Old Miss Hemstock comes out and threatens to bind the birds to a dark star. And so then the Hunger Birds leave because they're terrified of her. And they put Letty's body in the ocean, and the ocean takes her away. Um, the narrator goes back home. He's told that Letty's gone off to Australia. The mom tells the narrator that Ursula had to go because he was having an affair with the father. And then we kind of jump back to, and then we kind of jump back to the present day, right? And we realize that he has come back here several times in the past, um, and I think it's twice before he's come back in the past, and that something keeps on compelling him to come back here. But every time that he comes back, he seems to like forget. Um, right as he leaves the farm, he sees those full moon and the crescent moon side by side. But we also get an indication from some of his comments that he's already started to forget again. Um, and you could read into this a lot on the nature of trauma and the way that we carry personal trauma with us. And even though we're not thinking about it all the time, it still compels our like action. It still brings us back to it. There's still no real escaping it. So this is ultimately the conclusion of the novel. The novel pulls a little bit of a fast one on us, right? It has us convinced that Ursula Monkton is the big bad guy the whole time, and then out of nowhere, she's not. It's just these hunger birds, which leads to its own bevy of analysis with how that whole thing works. So the reason why I'm not going into a whole lot of detail here is that I want you guys to have some space with your assignment here. Your assignment, your final assignment for Ocean at the end of the lane is I want you to look through these videos, look through my PowerPoints, or don't, but you need to identify a universal theme, a theme that is bigger than just this novel, a theme that applies to life, living, humanity as a whole. All right, and I want you to give me 1,000 words on how this novel explores that theme. And that theme can be the loss of innocence, it can be personal trauma, it can be gender roles, it can be stereotypes, it can be all kinds of things, right? There is no endless way. I mean, it can be money and modern society and the unhappiness that kind of capitalistic societies lead us to. There are all kinds of universal themes that you can explore here, and I want 1,000 words. All right, 1,000 words of a structured essay. So structure means I need an introduction, I need a body, I need a conclusion. All right, the body should be several paragraphs long, but I want 1,000 words about how this novel explores that theme. And kind of what the novel says about it, what the major takeaways are. So, you'll probably need to identify the theme in the like introduction, and then spend the body talking about how the novel explores that theme, and then in the conclusion, maybe make some broad statements about how about how the theme relates to all of humanity, and how this novel's representation of it is just one piece of that. That's all that I'm asking you to do until we get back from Thanksgiving break. I'm not burdening you with anything else to read. I'm not going to give you a bunch of other busy work to do. There will be a weekly discussion, and then just this 1,000 words in this really short video here. I'm going to try and keep this video less than 10 minutes. So what I'm going to say is this at the end. And if you have me for another class, you're going to hear a very similar message in that class. But so whether you celebrate Christmas or don't celebrate Christmas, whether you celebrate Thanksgiving or you don't celebrate Thanksgiving because it's not part of your cultural heritage, the good news is that regardless of that, you have some time off of school. You have some time off of school, some space in your life to interject a little bit of meaning. This has been a hard year to find meaning. It's been a year where everything kind of feels like a checklist, kind of feels like busy work. There's stress and uncertainty. The world at large is kind of chaotic. I would encourage you, you're going to have 5 days here to slow down, breathe a little bit, spend some time with people that you love, spend some time with people that you care about, do something that you'll remember in 10 years. As good as this novel is, and some of you may remember this novel. For some of you, maybe this novel becomes your favorite book that you've ever read. Great. And for a lot of you, it will become a book that you've read and you will vaguely remember, and that'll be about it. And I want you to do the work, and I want you to, enjoy it or like whatever. But I also want you to find some space to do something that's going to matter to your development as a human. For me, you know, um, My family refuses to listen to Christmas music or watch Christmas movies, and we don't do any Christmas decorations till the day after Thanksgiving. So we'll have Thanksgiving dinner in my house. We're not going anywhere this year because of the Rona. And then on Friday, Thursday night, I'll go out shopping and I'll buy Christmas presents and I'll spend too much money. And then Friday, we will put up all of our decorations and we'll put up our Christmas tree and we'll put up our garland and we'll hang Christmas lights and then we'll watch a Christmas movie together and I will make my wife listen to Christmas music that she hates. Um, and it is one of my favorite things to do each year. Not because I necessarily love Christmas decorations. I actually find putting them up to be a little bit of a hassle and kind of annoying, but my daughters love it, and it's a time that I get. It's time that I carve out just for them, where I don't have any other distractions. I don't have any other things that I'm trying to do. Nothing to pull me away from just being there and being with them. And I know that you may not have the same traditions, you may not have the same holidays. That's all wonderful, but I hope that sometime over this season you're able to carve some time just to be with people, especially those of you that are seniors, because you know you guys are leaving, man. This will be your last holiday season as a child. You'll come back home once you're grown. You'll come back home and you'll visit, so on and so forth. But it's fundamentally different. This is the last holiday season that you'll have as the child of your parents, and this will be the last time that you get to be a kid in their house. I know so many of you are over that. So many of you are so ready to not be a kid anymore. Totally get that. All right, I unbelievably remember that feeling. Still feel that way. But don't neglect time. Don't neglect people. Um, Make sure that your priorities are in order here. Other stuff is important too, but the people around you, um, the formative things that you do that you will carry with you into the future, those matter. So I hope that you have a great Thanksgiving break. We're going to come back. We're only in school for what, like 2 weeks of actual classes, and then and then there's the exam week, and then we're done. So like then we're right into Christmas break, slash New Year's break, whichever you want to call it. I hope that you take some time this season, and I hope it gets colder outside. I need it to be winter. Anyways, that's it from me. I went a little bit longer. I went 2 minutes longer than I wanted to. I'm sorry. I hope that you'll forgive me. Only 5 of you are going to watch this anyway, so it's fine. Anyways, as always, if you need something, let me know. I'll go out of my way to help you. Remember, 1,000 words. I'll also have instructions up in the Schoology page. So do you, all right? And I'll see you guys on the other side.